Red Wine Conversations. It's your girl KO. I'm excited for my second show. When I tell you, I want to say thank you to all the people who have given me all the great feedback from the first show. I was a little nervous, but you guys have made me feel really comfortable and welcome here. So I hope everybody's got your wine glass poured up. We about ready to relax and have some conversations. You know, Red Wine Conversations is all about growth. You know, I want this show to be about me sharing my experience of self-reflection, and in hopes that maybe, you know, you can get some growth and learn something from it too. And I want to say welcome to the studio, the beautiful baby cousins from Eavesdropping on the Baby Cousins, Miss Paul. Lord, Paula, where I get Paula from? I'm putting together
Pam and Carla.
Pam and Carla. That's exactly what I did. I have Pam and Carla in the studio, where Carla's on Zoom with us this evening. You ladies, please introduce yourselves, and I want you guys to tell them a little bit about Eavesdropping with the Baby Cousins, because I loved when I was on your show. Absolutely loved it.
Go ahead, Carla. You can go first and introduce yourself since you're the oldest cousin.
No, she didn't just put you out there like that.
Wow.
You look good, though. That's all that matters.
Well,
you look
thank
good,
you
though.
ever so kindly. I am Cousin Carla of the Baby Cousins, and we have a podcast. It's called Eavesdropping on the Baby Cousins. And how we came to be is there are three of us. One of us is under the weather right now. But our parents are siblings, and
Okay.
we are the youngest of our parents. So my dad and his two sisters, we are the babies of the families.
So y'all the baby
And
first cousins? Y'all all
we're first cousins.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And we just kind of, like, maybe for how many years? About 6 or 7 years, we have been like, we got together one weekend, and we haven't been able to be separated since. We
Okay.
went to Nashville and just really kind of talked. We had conversations that we had never had before. We really didn't know how much we had in common that had everything to do with our birth order.
Okay.
And from that day on, we've been known as the Baby Cousins
Okay.
in our families. And so we try to get together once a year, just the three of us, because we all live in different places.
Now y'all
And
vacation or just kind of hang out, or what? What do you do when you
it's
get?
vacation. We just hang out. We'd like to go to Nashville because we can go into the Waffle House, which we don't have a Waffle House.
Now I
We
love
don't,
me some Waffle House. I ain't mad at you about
we
that. I
don't
love me
have a
some Waffle
Waffle House
House.
up here in Chicago. We do not have a Waffle House, and so we just kind of wherever it is. We've been to Gatlinburg. We've been to Nashville, Chicago. It's just wherever the three of us can find time to just release.
Okay.
We are our therapists.
Now that I do understand.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what this show is about, self-reflection, but you also want to have those people that can be honest with you.
Yeah.
And can't nobody be honest with you like family. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good thing. Yes.
The raw honesty, straight and no chaser. Because we'll put it out there to each other.
Yes, yes. I have cousins like that. I have, one cousin that me and her, we talk on a regular, and we share a lot of things that I don't share with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I can say, we are definitely willing to check one another when it's time to check one
Yeah,
another.
absolutely.
And we have been like, okay, now come on now, boo.
Yeah.
All right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do better. So yeah, I totally understand that. Yes.
We do this thing called Baby Cousin Confidential.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we have something that we want to keep right in the central part of the baby cousins. We like, hey, baby cousins confidential. This is not something that needs to be shared with anybody else in other parts of the family, or just period. With your significant other, no pillow talk. This is baby cousin confidential.
Right.
So even on our show, when we recorded our show last night, and I was sharing it with you earlier about one of the segments that we recorded was a letter to our 25-year-old selves. And one of the things that I mentioned in there was your cousins are your best friends. Your cousins are your first best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as you encounter friends throughout your years, in your life, you find that some of your closest friends or your best friends are your cousins.
Absolutely.
And I can definitely attest to that. We've created this bond between us, me, Carly, and Diane, this baby cousins bond that continues to grow. We learn so much about ourselves through each other. Mm-hmm. And I can honestly say that I appreciate them. I appreciate who they are. Not just as my cousins, but them as individuals.
Right, because you have to be accepting of one another.
Absolutely.
In order for it to work. And especially when you're family, you really do have to be accepting of one another.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to hear the show about the letter to your 25-year-old self. That sounds really interesting.
It was very interesting. And as I was saying to you earlier, it was very sobering for me to write that letter to my 25-year-old self, and child, I was a mess.
So was it more along the lines of telling your 25-year-old self what to expect in the future, or things that you would do differently?
Both.
Okay.
It was a combination of things. It was if I knew then what I know now, let me tell you what you're going to face.
Okay.
It was also appreciation and reflection on who you are at that moment at 25 years old. So it was a combination of things that came out of that letter.
So, Carla, what did you say to 25-year-old Carla?
Well, I said a lot of things. I have a set of twins that are 24, and then I have another daughter who's 23. So I tried to really put in perspective, how when you talk to your kids, they look at you like you don't know anything, you haven't been through anything, and you're preaching. So I really tried to come from the perspective of, I've been here, I understand the walk that you have, the walk that you will have, and just try to put in perspective things about friendships, things about relationships, things about respecting your parents. And I'm saying at 25, I had both of my parents. Now I do not. So I took it back to when I was 25 and I said, appreciate them.
Yes.
Because at some point they won't be here.
Right.
And all you will have is those memories. And when I said that, when I wrote that, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe where that came from, because that was the realest part of my letter. And also telling myself at 25, you are enough. And don't look at yourself, your failures, your successes from anybody else's perspective. And understand that along your journey, you're going to meet a lot of hurt people, and hurt people try to hurt people.
True.
And so I just tried to come from a perspective of, you might not hear me today, but at some point you will pull from this. Yes. And you will gain some knowledge. You will hear my voice when I'm not there.
Yes, I totally agree with you. That's one of the things as a parent, I will say, because I've got grown kids, of course, the two oldest ones just got married. But one of the things that I love to hear when they say, you know what, Mama, sometimes I sit back and I think about it. You know what, Mama was right. You may not want to listen to me when I was trying to tell you then, but you did come around and understand, especially the baby girl. She was like, Mama, every time you told me, it's because I used to tell them all the time when they met friends, and I'd be like, That's going to be your lifetime friend right here. This one, this is a sometime friend. She only here for a season, but this one right here is going to be around for a long time. And the baby girl was always like, you know what, Mama, you were right. You saw it. You were right. So yeah, to be able to share that with the youth and have them listen is the key. Because I will tell you, I was having a conversation with a younger gentleman today, and we were talking about today's youth. You know, what this society does need is those young people who are fearless, and this new generation is most definitely fearless and willing to step out there and do everything, but they're not disciplined
at all.
So if they could, if some kind of way we could get, you know, the older generation to come together with the younger, fearless generation, because we've always been taught to fear. We've been taught to fear everything. This new generation is all about, hey, it's about me. You can't tell me I can't do this, and I'm going to do what I want to do. But if we could kind of get them to be disciplined behind that, imagine where we could go. So, yeah.
They all for jumping in the pool, both feet in the deep.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we
without support, they don't care.
Yeah.
Right? We tiptoeing. Let me test the water before I jump in. But these new ones, they don't care.
Yeah.
They jumping on in. So tell everybody, how can they catch your show? Because I definitely want to catch this one on the Letter to Your 25-year-old self.
Well, it's on the Streets of Talking 24-hour live broadcast network. You can go to Streets of Talking. Is it thestreetsoftalking.com, Carla?
Yeah.
And there's also, you can go to your Play Store, Apple and Android, and you can download the link. Our show Eavesdropping on the Baby Cousins, we air on Fridays and Saturdays at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And you don't want to miss it. I'm telling you.
I don't want to miss it.
It's an awesome show. We got some great feedback when you were on our show.
Oh.
And let me also say again to you, I know we've said it before, but I want to say it on your show. We were honored and had a wonderful time when you were on the show.
I was honored to be on.
We would love to have you back.
Anytime. I had a great time with you ladies, and your show set me on a different path for my self-reflection, especially, you know, when we got to talking about how women try to tear each other down instead of build one another up. And that made me have an epiphany, really, about my relationship with my sister. And so, and that, you know what, that's actually, this is going to be a perfect leeway into what we're talking about tonight. Because tonight we're doing a self-reflection on forgiveness. And so when I finally, let me back up. Let me say this, because I had a lot of feedback about that show. And I want to say this to those who kind of reached out to me and they were like, well, you know, you can't dim a natural light, or, you know, you are who you are. I want to say, when you're on your journey of self-reflection, you can't be afraid to be open to something negative about yourself.
Absolutely.
We're all human and we all have flaws. And so just because you identify a trait or something about yourself that you perceive as negative doesn't take away from you as a person. It actually gives you the opportunity to become a better person, because now that you're aware of it, you can do something about it. So there's a choice. If it's something that you don't like and you perceive it yourself as negative, you have a choice. I can make a change, or I can continue to allow people to see me in that perspective. Right. So that kind of that epiphany that I had about my sister, it really clicked for me and put a lot of things together. And actually, the day after Thanksgiving, because I reached out to her to have a conversation about because she's got some health issues, so I kind of reached out to her about it. And one of the things I said to her was, I want to apologize to you that if I have ever at any time made you feel like I thought that I was better than you, because I'm not. We have different traits. We have different abilities. Like she's extremely creative, where I have some creative traits, but not like my sister. She's amazing. And so just because we have different things and we excel in different areas doesn't make me better than her. And I wanted to be sure. I mean, she cried on me, but we had our moment, but that really has made me see her in a different light. And I kind of got to thinking about it when I had the epiphany about how that particular situation probably made her feel.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took a step back and looked at areas in my life where I could relate to how she was feeling. And so I came up with this one situation that I want to share before we get into talking about forgiveness, because I will be honest, I'm one of those type. Forgiving people is something I struggle with. And I don't know if everybody who's listening, if you had an opportunity, I kind of gave some questions that are listed out there on Red Wine Conversations. I also gave to Carla and Pam these same questions to start their journey of self-reflection. So if you want to, take a look at those questions and ask those questions of yourself and kind of start your own journey, listen to what we're about to share this evening. But one of the things that I have learned about myself on my journey is I used to be, and I think I told you, shared this with you guys, that I used to get upset because I felt like people didn't take in consideration how I felt. Like, people would do things and I would always swallow how I feel, for sake of others. And I'd be like, but nobody ever takes into consideration how Karen feels. And then I had to take a step back when I did my self-reflection and realize, well, people weren't considering my emotions because I wasn't expressing my emotions. That's something I have difficulty with, is expressing how I feel. And so once I learned that about myself, I made it a habit now that, especially when it's something that really bothers me, to tell people how I feel. Because I can't get mad at you if you're not addressing my feelings if I haven't expressed it to you. With that being said, one of the things that I now find myself being sensitive about, that if I do express how I feel to you and you ignore that feeling, it makes me feel some type of way. And so that's kind of how I looked at it as my sister. I was pretty much saying to her, I don't really care how you feel. I am who I am, and you just have to accept me for who I am, regardless. It doesn't matter what you think. And I had to think about that because I had a situation where someone that was extremely close to me, we had a situation to occur where that person's actions really hurt me. Really, really hurt me. And so because it's difficult for me to express my emotions, I was like, this is somebody close to me. I don't want this to change my relationship with them. So I expressed, this is your actions made me feel this particular way. But every time I expressed my actions, my emotions to that person and how they made me feel, I felt like they were dismissive of my feelings.
Okay.
And so after probably about the second or third time, I think it was probably about the third time of me trying to express to them how I felt, I was like, you know what? If you're going to keep, dismissing it, then I'm not going to keep trying to share my feelings. And that completely and totally changed how I interacted with that person. I went from talking to this person every day to maybe once a week, the whole dynamic changed. Because I felt like, here I am trying to express to you how your actions made me feel. And if we're supposed to be that close and you're supposed to care about me, then you would stop and think about whether your actions, whether you meant it or not to hurt me, that you would stop and think about how those particular actions made me feel.
That's interesting.
And so when I finally did, and so like I said, I kept trying to talk to them about it, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave it alone. When they finally did come to me and want to discuss the situation, I felt like when they came to me because they were upset because now we no longer had the relationship that we had, and it was bothering them that the relationship had changed. But they didn't want to come to me to talk to me about how I was feeling. They wanted to talk to me about how they felt and how the change in the relationship made them feel. And so when we sat down and we started talking, and I said to them, and they said, you should have told me. Why didn't you tell me? how you were feeling. And I said, I did. I told you several times. But every time that I shared with you how I was feeling, I felt like you dismissed my feelings. And they said to me, yeah, my family tells me I can be dismissive. Years of things that, disagreements and actions that we both been wrong on. But in that particular case, because it's my sister, I feel like I have no choice but to forgive and let go. Because I want more for me and my sister. And the only way to change that relationship with her is for me to let go. But a part of me is going to be hanging on. That's the thing. A part of me is going to want to hang on and be like, is it going to happen again? It's difficult.
Yeah. Wow, this is really a revelation to me. A revelation and a reflection to me when I hear you tell that story, because, KO, when I tell you, you just really spoke a situation, and almost the exact of a situation that occurred between me and a friend, but it was the reverse, where I was the one that really was told that I wasn't understanding her feelings, and she was expressing to me like, okay, this is how you make me feel.
Right.
This is how you make me feel when we're in a company of people. And me, I'm saying, no, I'm just being the way that I am. Right. My family will tell you, this is the way that I am at all times. But she's saying to me, well, sometimes I feel it makes me feel uncomfortable when you do this or when you do that. And in my mind, I'm just like, okay, you just have a problem with my light. Because I shine. And you have a problem with my light.
I've said that plenty of
You're more in the background where I'm more out front, and you have a problem with that. And that's not my problem. I treat you like I do anybody else. And she's saying to me, that's the problem. I don't want you to treat me like everybody else.
Because she's not everybody else.
Exactly. And I didn't catch that. You know when I finally got it? When you just said it.
See, that's what self-reflection is about.
I finally got it when you just said it. Because I kept holding on to, this is just the way that I am. I'm not going to change who I am because you don't know how to deal where I am. Just deal with how I am. I'm just going to meet you where you are because you're like this. And you just meet me where I am. I'm not the problem. You just seem to have a problem with this, and I just got it, so thank you. However,
there's always a however.
I'm laughing because I'm like, okay, and however.
Yeah. So you know where I'm going with this, cousin. Yes. However, although that, we did hit that roadblock, there are certain lines that you just do not cross. There are certain lines that you do not cross. And she crossed the unforgivable.
Oh.
An unforgivable one that it not only was it unforgivable, but it's unforgettable. And it's really, really hard for me to let it go, because I never thought that someone that I considered as a sister friend would invoke the most betraying blow that you could to a friend. And this was a person who, she know where all my bones are buried.
I understand.
She knows where my bones are buried. She's, she can be the grave digger.
Those are the most difficult blows. When you get blows like that from people,
my gosh,
those are the most difficult blows.
And I would have you could have never told me that this person would have done this. I even told my mother, I said, you know what, I will cut my right arm off before I believe that this person will ever do this to me. And when she sat in my home and shared with me, this is what this is how I was planning to do this to you. Yes. I was going to do this to you. And
oh, wow.
And her reasoning was because this is how you made me feel as a friend. So I wasn't grasping that because I'm like, regardless of you not understanding how I am, and you can't deal with how I am, still doesn't justify
You doing it.
what you were about to do. Because her final blow to me was actually going to cause collateral damage with other people. So my thing is, whatever you wanted to do it to me. But you don't involve and cause,
Her main focus was trying to make you feel her pain.
make me, and that's what she said. I wanted you to feel, I was going to feel the final blow, and I was going to sit back and laugh and see how funny you thought it was.
Yeah.
I wanted to see you hurt.
I understand. I do understand how she felt.
I didn't understand, and I still don't understand. I understand now, again.
You see it the different perspective.
I see a different perspective.
Yes.
As far as how she felt, because like I was saying earlier, now I was on the reverse, where a friend came to me and told me, this is how you were making me feel. And not knowing, I was dismissing her feelings.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've done it before. And it's not until, I had my epiphany about my sister that I actually opened up my eyes to how I was really and truly making her feel.
Yeah.
Now, I had done that journey of self-reflection on that, and I realized that I can come off, very aggressive. We kind of talked about it on the show, and come off aggressive and mean because I'm blunt and honest. But that's something, now I try to give people a little sugar with it. I try to size folks up and tone, and tone it down because I'm aware. But there are some things that you're just not aware of. Yeah. But the key to self-reflection is when somebody brings it to your attention to take a step back and go, okay, why are they so persistent that this is how they're perceiving me? What is it that I'm giving off that makes her feel that way?
Yeah. And I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I just felt like this is me. To know me is to love me or not love me at all.
I was the same. That's me. Yeah.
So
you either love KO or you don't.
Or you don't.
Take me or leave me.
I didn't put a gun in your head to make you stay in my life. As a friend, you could have moved on if it was things that you've seen, what have you. But I know that is not the way to be. And because, again, self-reflection, and just now, I see that again. However, it still didn't warrant that.
Yes.
Because that was like you said with your friend, you miss that person. I miss her. I miss talking to her every day. She was a very intricate and important part of my life. She was like part of my family. My family embraced her. So hitting the road, doing things without her, we had plans for when we got older.
Yeah.
And so not to have that, I was like, oh my gosh. And as a result, we kept taking digs at each other, even on social media, taking digs at each other, because there was still some lingering pain. So recently, she and I finally had a conversation where we was like, okay, we both still dealing with pain. Let's go ahead and let it go. Even if we don't, if the friendship is not mended, at least we can deal with this pain with each other and be adults and not, take digs at each other, and let's settle this hurt. And we did have an opportunity to sit down and talk, and I was really glad about that. And she acknowledged to me that her actions were not warranted. And for me, that was all I wanted. That was all I wanted. Don't justify that what you did warranted.
Right.
Don't justify that.
A lot of times people want to justify their actions
don't
just
do
based
that.
on how they feel. Yeah.
Yeah, so but in her mind it was her way of, I wanted you to feel my pain. But with that, I was saying, let me feel it. But
you did,
don't include anybody else. That that's foul on several different levels.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that goes to the hurt people.
Hurt people.
Yes, hurt people.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct. And misery loves company. They all say it. And so when when you have pain that you're not dealing with,
Yeah.
you know, it does linger on. And like I said earlier, I was the one, I always swallowed my emotions. And so, and my kids, family members will tell you, the only thing that I really expressed when it came to emotions, I was either happy or I was angry. There was really no in between because I bottled up everything else because I always felt like I needed to swallow how I felt so that I could do for others. And I put everybody else's feelings before mine and then would get mad because nobody put me before them. Yeah. And so, but they were all used to it. I mean, hey, they all knew Karen is going to do whatever is best for everybody else or try to make what's best. And then what would happen was I would swallow all those emotions. And then the minute somebody did something to piss me off, I go from 0 to 100.
It was no in between, no balance.
No balance.
Yeah.
No in between.
Yeah, from 0 to 10.
Yeah, yeah. And so, no, I was 100, girl. I went 0 to 100. You let my kids tell you. Now, mine was probably 1,000. You let the kids tell it. But now I always try to take a step back and now I think about it. Like, I don't, one thing, and this is something else I learned about myself too. I had to ask myself, and when you're on your journey of self-reflection, the number one question you should always ask, why? Always ask. Every time you come up with an answer, ask yourself again, why? And so I used to ask myself, why don't I like expression? What's my issue with expressing my emotions? And it clicked with me. I'm a control freak. When I'm emotional, I'm not in control. And so therefore, I don't like being emotional. I don't like expressing emotions because I don't feel like I'm in control of me when I'm emotional. And so I'd rather swallow those emotions than to have to deal with them because I have to be in control. And so I had to learn how to deal with my emotions and at the same time maintain control of myself. And so now it's more so of me taking a step back, taking a deep breath, thinking about the situation because I don't like to argue. I'm not going to argue with you. You're going to have to give me time. Let me calm down. Let me get myself together. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get angry. I don't want to get upset. So I have learned to incorporate, and I express that to whoever the person is. Like, you're going to have to give me a minute. And matter of fact, you know, when I had the disagreement with that person, that was one of the things I said to them, you know, because, you know, they were like everything was everything, even though I expressed how, like, you know, I felt like you slapped me in the face, like this is what happened. And, you know, they were like, oh, everything's everything. And so I had to say to them, you know what, you're going to have to give me a minute. I'm struggling with how your actions made me feel. You're going to have to give me a minute. And so that's what I do now with people. And so when that's something you need to share with your friend. You can't, when you get upset and you get in those emotions, you can't always just act. Sometimes you got to take a step back. But it's not always, you would think to yourself, y'all being good friends, she would have thought, I know that's not Pam's actions. I know that's not how Pam feels about me. But then at the same time, you have to look at it from her perspective.
Yeah.
And from her perspective, she was like, I thought I meant more to Pam than that, and she treated me just like any other, you know.
And that's what she said to
me. Any other person. Like, you ain't nobody. And, you know, and I'm thinking, hey, I thought we were better than that. Yeah.
And I even, you know, expressed to her, like, I treat you like I do my sisters, you know, because you're my sister friend. And I treat you like my sisters, my cousins. And she's like, okay, I don't think you should treat me like any other friend because we're supposed to have a closer bond than that. But I'm like, those who are real, real close to me, I'm comfortable with being me and being myself. I don't want to have to adjust myself because I have to pamper around your feelings.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you really and truly care about someone, you will adjust yourself for them.
What degree, though?
Yeah.
Now, see, everything, it has to be a compromise. It has to be a compromise.
I agree.
But once you are aware and they are aware, then that's when you come with the compromise and you say,
and
okay, I realize now how I make you feel in those particular moments. Now I'm cognitive of it.
Right.
I'm conscious of it, and I can be more aware of it. But you can't be as sensitive because you know that's not what I mean. So so
Right.
that means both of you are making an effort. So she has to
Absolutely.
understand that, okay, yeah, I'm being overly sensitive in this particular situation because I know Pam really didn't mean it that way. She loves me and
Absolutely.
she cares for me, so I can't be as sensitive. And then Pam needs to realize in those particular, okay, I understand, because I will tell you, I'm like that. I have this, like, even when I try not to be the center of attention in a room, like I can lean against the wall and it's like people gravitate to me.
I'm the same way.
I don't know. It's just.
Would you agree, Carla?
No.
You don't think I'm the same way? I'm a social butterfly. You don't think I'm the same way? People gravitate. Yeah, thank you, Carla.
Funny. Oh my God, that
Thank
was hilarious.
Would you not agree that this baby cousin illuminates?
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And
Thank
in
you.
all shape, forms, and fashion, you do. And so that's difficult to turn off because you don't
I
even
agree.
realize it. You own all the time. Like I'm me all
Yeah.
the time. I'm me.
Which is how we met.
Exactly, because I was me. I was
Yeah.
on when you
Yeah.
came through the door.
And I was on the same way.
Yes.
And we just really clicked. And it was like, two people who naturally have people gravitate to them. Well,
Right.
we don't have them gravitate to us. They just gravitate to us. We gravitated to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how it happened. And I'm an extrovert. And I intimidate introverts. And
I can see that.
Introverts, there are certain introverts that told me that, several introverts that told me that, like, Pam, sometimes I have to kind of lean back or, when you're around, because although it's not overbearing and in your face, because I am a social bug, I'm not one that has to be like, hey, party over here, party don't start till I come in. I don't have to do that. I just come in being myself and very friendly. And of course, people gravitate to me. And and I used to teach a dance class, and when I was teaching the dance class, everybody, of course, gravitated to me because, of course, I was the instructor. But
See, people,
I'm the family.
But see, you have to think, people who don't have that natural light are
they get
intimidated and jealous
by it,
of that.
And that's what happens.
That's
they
what
get
happened to
intimidated
her.
by it. And it's like, there was one time a comment was made, oh, if she's not, if the attention is not on her, there's a problem. No, I don't have to look for it. Yeah. And I'm not saying that in a boastful way.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't have to look for it at all. I don't have to seek it. And again, I'm not saying that in a boastful way, but
people are like that.
It would be situations where someone would say, "Hey, where's Pam?" Or
but Carla's still sitting over there looking at you like, "Girl, please."
she knows it, don't you, Carla? Don't you, Carla? She knows.
I do.
Carla, who's the entertainer in the family?
You be entertained.
I'm the entertainer in the family.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me tell you, in my family, we have a family full of lights. Everybody is beaming in my family. When I tell you, my daughters, if we walk into a room, trust me, all three of them, oh yeah, they're natural lights.
So they take it honestly.
Yes, they can't walk by a mirror without looking at themselves. So, but that's in how I raised them, to be confident and you're beautiful and to love yourself. I know my baby girl is really just now coming into her own of understanding. You are absolutely, because I tell her all the time, you realize you are absolutely beautiful. And but then I always say, you look just like your mama. But she'd be like, no. But yeah, so it's difficult. So I think for you and your friend to start on that path, now that you see and your eyes are open to that may be a different, aspect to the relationship, and you helping, you understanding how she felt. It's difficult at times.
It is very difficult, but also something that you said I wanted to touch on as far as when she did come to me and let me know how I made her feel. I wasn't aware.
Right.
I wasn't aware at all. So what I did was, and this goes back to adjusting yourself and making compromises, because I wasn't aware that I was making her feel that way. So what I did was I adjusted. I did, and I never did it again. And she acknowledged. But what happened was she said, now I feel like you're changing or you're not doing this when we're around and I'm not that sensitive and you don't have to tiptoe. And I'm like, hey, you can't have it both ways, boo.
Right.
You got to choose a side and stick with it.
Right.
You know, you can't say, well, when you get around these people, don't do me like this and don't treat me like this and don't say this. But then don't treat me like I can't take it either. Girl, you better pick a side and stay on it. I'm
right.
not.
Now, see, now that's when you need to help her see your perspective and sit her down and help her to understand, because we can't do that.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm just going to do. I'm not going to be flip-flopping. I mean, there's many facets to my personality, but I ain't going to have no multiple personalities.
I know that's right.
You know, just to adjust to your feelings, I acknowledged that I wasn't aware. But now that you brought it to my attention, because I love you and I cherish the friendship, I make sure to be totally cognizant and mindful when we're in the crowd of different people. Oh, it's okay when you do it with these people over here, but just don't do it over here. And I'm like, honey, come on. Yeah, we're not going
to do it. That friendship, though. How authentic is that friendship?
How often? What? Say that again, Carla.
How authentic is that friendship if you have to continue to do that?
Yeah.
Which one of you all are being imposters?
And that's our favorite word, imposter.
You know what, though, Carla? You have a point because, yes, I can, if you take a step back and you are honest and you see your fault, and we, like I said, we're all human, we all have flaws, and you're willing to make that adjustment for that person, to which says to them, hey, I love you, I care for you, you know, I'm willing to make this sacrifice for you. But I'm not finna jump through hoops.
Yeah.
You can't pick and choose on which day and in what particular situation, you know. This is a general thing. Yeah. This is overall. Now you've made me mindful of it. I'm mindful of it, but you can't pick and choose on what day how you want me to treat you.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know, I can be mindful of it and I try not to treat you that way, but when you wanted me to pick and choose, now that person has to take a step back. Again, we go back to self-reflection because that's something about you.
Yeah.
You know, that you're wanting me to pick and choose. Why is it that it's okay for me to treat you this way in front of these people, but I can't treat you like that in front of them? What is your issue?
Yeah.
They need to self-reflect on that and say, what is the real reason why you have a problem if I do it over here, but you don't have a problem if I do it over there?
Yeah.
Now you've made me mindful of it, and I understand and I can see your perspective. But now you got to explain to me why it's okay over here and not over here. So I agree with Carla.
Yeah.
How authentic of a friend, because if you're a true friend and you understand I'm making a sacrifice for you.
Absolutely.
And you're appreciative of that sacrifice that I'm making for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you can't tell me you can joke with me over here, but you can't joke with me over here. So
right.
I'm like, give me a schedule.
Yeah. See, yeah. I'm not going to keep jumping.
Is it cool?
Yeah.
And again, the authenticity of the friendship started to be, you know, it didn't seem as genuine anymore. And again, not taking anything from this person because she's an awesome person.
Right.
Phenomenal person. You know, she has the potentials of being a great friend. But also in that, I had to learn. I even asked some other girlfriends, I was like, because I was so hurt by her actions to me, I went to other girlfriends to reflect.
Yeah.
I said, what type of friend am I? Am I an awful friend? I mean, do I deserve this?
Right.
You know, tell me what type of friend I am. And I had other good friends telling me, those who straight with me, no chaser. Pam, sometimes you're too much for people who don't feel enough.
Yeah.
And that's not your fault.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, and that's not your fault. So you continue to be who you are. And yeah, be mindful about that, about if any of your friends come and say to you, this is how you made them feel, think about that.
Right.
And I did take the step to say, you know what, I didn't even realize that. And I do apologize. I'm so sorry. And it won't happen again. And it never did. But again, I found myself being in the company when we were in certain crowds, being around and just sitting back like, let me not say much, or telling people, don't say nothing, don't joke. She can't take a joke.
No, you can't do that. Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
how about you just back yourself on up out of this crowd? We won't hang out in this crowd together. And first of all, nobody even told you to be around me in this crowd. You know, me and you, we do our thing. You invoke yourself in over this crowd, then you want to make rules.
Because it sounds like
no.
she need to do some self-reflection.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely. So what say you, Carla?
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say, because she all quiet over there, Carla.
Well, you know, Pumpkin is the loud one in the family. I'm like very laid back. I just chime in every now and again.
Well, you need to share with us some of your self-reflection. What did you get out of the questions that I sent?
God, let me just get my iPad together first.
Is that a beer? This is red wine. What's that?
No, she got cranberry sauce. And she don't even like cranberry sauce. I'm gonna need her to throw that can. Yeah, she don't even like cranberry sauce. I'm gonna need her to get that can to the home.
Right. We passed Thanksgiving now.
I know, right? She's using it as a prop now.
Oh, okay.
This is holding up my iPad. One of the questions that I thought about was like a big betrayal that I had in my life. And everybody that knows me knows that I am a poster child for a daddy's girl. And the relationship that I had with my father it wasn't perfect, but it was. Mm-hmm. And so when he passed away, that was a hole that has never been filled. I still hear my father's voice. I still hear conversations that we've had. I don't know. He wasn't a perfect individual, but he was perfect for my heart. Mm-hmm. So the biggest betrayal that I had was someone who was very close to my father was to tell me some negative things that my father said about me, which I don't believe that he said under any set of circumstances. But because of that relationship that he had with her, it made it seem like it would have had to have been true. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that I would say is that if my father felt that way, he would have never wanted me to learn about it after he passed away. And so that was a betrayal that deserved forgiveness from me, for me, not from me, for me. Mm-hmm. But to never, ever put myself in a position where this person could ever say anything to me ever again.
I wonder what was their purpose behind telling you that.
That person was jealous of my relationship with my father from the beginning, from when I was a child.
She was. Okay.
She was jealous of the relationship that I had with my dad. And just throughout our life together, just tried to just plant little mines to just blow up wherever she could do it. And when he passed away, I could never talk to him about what she said that he said.
Right.
So that was the biggest, and I thought about just situations that I've been in throughout my life, but that was the biggest betrayal, because it involved one of the closest people ever to me. The reflection that I had with that is not that I was going to forgive her, but it was just going to be for me. It was going to be a situation where you and we are never going to have any kind of contact ever again. And it's been like 15, 16 years, and I have peace with that. Mm-hmm. I have people in my family who from time to time say, oh, we heard from this person and asked about you and stuff. And I'm like, that's nice. I don't wish any ill will on them. I wish them the best. I wish them good health, good finances, everything. But in terms of crossing over into my space ever again, that's a no for me.
Absolutely. I can totally understand that. Because anybody that wants to come in and undermine the relationship that you had with your father, which it sounds like that's what she wanted to do, meant you
Yes.
know no good anyway. So yeah. And sometimes there are particular situations where you have to forgive just for yourself. So you're absolutely right. I've had those situations where I've had to say, you know what? I forgive them for me because I need the peace and I need to let this go so that I can move on. But yes, you can never be a part of my life again. I forgive you and I can let it go and I can move on, but we can
Yeah.
never be the same. You can never be a part of my life the way that you were. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is hard. It's hard.
Yeah. It took me a couple years because I was angry and I was hurt because I questioned, which in retrospect, I should never question it. I was like, did my father feel that way? But I'm like, I know he didn't feel that way. I understand who you are. And I understand the relationship that I had with my father. And I understood years and years of you trying to just disrupt the peace that we had. So again, hurt people, hurt people.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. That's definitely a true statement. And sometimes you have to wonder. This is what I find myself when I run across people that I know are reacting to me out of pain or out of hurt. I always try to say, and this doesn't always work because I always try to say, I understand why you're responding or why you're acting the way you're acting. But here's how your actions are being perceived. I get it. I understand why you're doing what you're doing. But here's how it's making me feel. Here's how your actions, the harm that your actions are causing. Sometimes people are willing to wake up if they care about you. They're willing to take that step back and look at it, and sometimes they're not. That was one of the things that I said to the person that I had as we were going through the situation. I said, I understand
But let me ask
why
you, what
you
is it
doing it.
that you understood?
I understood who she was as a person, just like Carla just said. And so therefore I understood her actions because knowing her as the person that she is, I understood her actions and why she was saying the things that she was saying and doing the things that they were doing. I understood it because I knew them as a person. And I got it, but what they were missing was how their actions was making me feel.
Yeah.
Like I get why you're saying that, and I get why you're acting the way that you're acting because it was who they are. But here's how your actions are making me feel. And so my expectation was, if you truly care about me, like with your friend, if you really truly care about me, and I'm expressing to you how your actions are making me feel, and you can't step back, that changes my perspective of you. That changes my relationship with you, because now you're being dismissive of me. And so I had to, I had to take a step back. So just like with Carla, she said she understood who she was, but it did make you question, was what she's saying to you correct? Because they like to get that in. And so when this person did what they did, I did kind of have to take a step back and be like, was my response to them, like you, did my response to them warrant their action? And I'm thinking, no, I can't see how my response warranted that action.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling you how your actions made me feel. And I think that's what really got me, because I'm expressing to you how your actions made me feel. And then I felt like you just dismissed it. It didn't matter. But in Carla's particular case, it wasn't intentional. I know for a fact that it wasn't an intentional action on her part to hurt
In
me.
Carla's case, it was.
Yeah, in Carla's case, it was. But in my case, I know it was not
wasn't
intentional.
In my case, it wasn't
Yeah.
intentional as far as what, how she
Right.
said
It
I
was.
treated her.
It was. I
But
know.
her response to me was
Yeah,
intentional.
her response was intentional.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Carla's situation, the lady is a succubus. Do you agree with that, Carla? She's a succubus.
Indeed.
Yeah. She's a
Lord.
Venus flytrap. And yeah.
I mean, and there are, but you know when you run across those particular situations when a person is willfully being, mean or trying to injure or hurt you in some particular way, or when they really weren't aware how their actions were making you feel. And that's how I felt in that particular moment. I knew that the person didn't realize how their actions were making me feel, which is why I wanted to express it. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, but, I feel like, I feel like you just slapped me in my face is basically what I said.
Yeah.
And so, but they didn't miss a beat, like dismissed, my emotions and my feelings. So that kind of made me feel like, well, you don't give a damn about me especially if I've expressed it to you 2 or 3 times,
right,
and you still don't take that step back. So that's where self-reflection, I say this all the time. When somebody or multiple people continue to tell you the same thing about yourself,
you need to listen.
You need to take a step back and try to see why are they perceiving me in that particular manner.
Yeah.
What is it that makes them think that way about me? Because when I tell you I really had to take a step back, I have had issues with making people feel like they're lesser or that I'm better than them all my life. All my life. Everywhere, every job, in school, all my life. I have had this problem. When I was in nursing school, the director pulled me into her office to tell me that one of my fellow students was intimidated by me. And I'm like, I don't even talk to this girl. What do you mean intimidated by me? And she says, well, she's intimidated by the way you look. Like, I can't change this. I'm me. If she don't like the way my face looked, then stop looking at me was my thing. Right. But now that I take a step back and I really think about it, like at work and in the majority, I have this thing about letting people know I know. I know my shit. I can, it's who I am. But I can understand now, taking a step back, how that makes other people feel.
Do you ever say to yourself, be humble?
You know what? Starting this show is what has made me start to tell myself, be humble. Yeah. Because I have received such great feedback from people about this show. I have, and let me just say right here, JC, my fellow Brown Brother podcast member, JC called me today, and he gave me such great praise on that first show and inspired me so, because I really respect and look up to JC. And y'all need to check out his show. Is Tuesday nights, Wake Up with JC. Amazing guy. And he just really, made me feel more comfortable about doing this show. And I really and truly appreciate that. But that is something I have been telling myself on a regular. Every time I think about this show, is stay humble. Before I came in here and I sat down in this chair, I told myself, stay humble. Because I know me. I know who I am. That revelation really opened my eyes. That's why this journey of self-reflection is all about growth. And you cannot be afraid to open your eyes and see something negative about yourself. Yeah. Doesn't take away from who you are.
But that's the hardest thing to do, though.
It is.
It is to self-reflect. Carla, me, you, and Diane, we were talking about this last night after we recorded our show and after we read our letters. We were saying the hardest thing to do is to look naked at yourself. It's the
Oh,
pull.
absolutely.
It's the pull, and just the pull.
You
and
speak
the
for
whole cover.
yourself, honey. You speak for yourself.
Wait a minute. Hold the line, please, because I'm not talking about physically naked.
Well, okay.
I don't mind looking naked at myself.
Y'all are too much. Hey, I don't need the hey. Shoot.
And like you say, your daughter walk past the mirror.
Hey.
I got several mirrors in my
Let
house.
me tell you something.
I'm
My
okay
kids,
with that, but
my kids will tell you all the time they grew up in the naked house. I don't like clothes.
I don't need them.
Hey,
I don't need them.
summertime, I tell folks, as we know, I got that wood privacy fence. Summertime, I like to sunbathe. Don't be looking over my fence.
Yeah.
Because, hey, you don't want to see it, don't look.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't come by. Don't be shaking
And
your
that's
head
what I'm
at
saying
me.
about me and the baby cousins.
Yeah.
We are very comfortable in ourselves and with each other. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to remind each other, can you put something out? For what?
Honey,
For what?
I do it
am
all the
very
time.
comfortable in my nakedness, and God created this.
Right.
So
I'm the same
gonna
way.
I'm going to be happy with it. I'm going to look at it in every mirror.
I am the
And
same
you're welcome.
way.
And you're welcome.
Right. And
Yeah.
y'all want to see, listen, this is funny.
Flaws
We got
and
out.
all.
It's almost time to close the show, but I'm going to tell you, it's funny you say that because for my 50th birthday, I went to Jamaica. I was telling you guys, we did a big group trip to Jamaica for my 50th. And I like to sunbathe, you know, and all. And we had villas with private pools and all. And so my brother would come over to my villa every freaking morning. He would come. We was in Jamaica. He'd come on my villa every freaking morning. And I'd be laid out. And he'd be like, I'm so tired of looking at you naked. Then stop
leave.
coming to my villa
Then
every
leave.
morning.
Yeah.
It's like, shoot, you don't
Yeah.
want to see your sister naked, stop coming over here.
Yeah.
Because he come through the back door. Come to the front and knock on the door. Then
Yeah.
we'll come. Don't come up on my patio or my villa. But yeah, I want to say, thank you guys for coming on the show. I have absolutely loved talking to the baby cousins. Now remind everybody again, it's when can
Friday and Saturday nights at 6 p.m.
At 6
on the Streets of
p.m.
Talking Live Broadcasting Network, Podcast Network.
Okay, can you make sure you send me the link so I can
I
put it
sure
on
will.
Red Wine Conversations? So if
Absolutely.
any of y'all want to listen to their podcast, when I tell you I had an absolute amazing time with the baby cousins.
We love having you there.
If you guys are in, hey, let me just open up, because one of the other suggestions that I have received is about opening up and taking calls from
go
people.
ahead.
So if anybody, if you would like to be a guest on Red Wine Conversation so we can have a self-reflection together, you want to call in, or if you guys think that's a great idea, let me know. Give me some feedback, because I could always dedicate a show to call in. So, but thank you, Pam. Thank you, Carla, for coming on.
You are welcome.
I
and thank
have
you for having
loved
us.
having you guys. And please, everybody, if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. You can find me on YouTube. You can catch me on speaker.com. You can catch me on Facebook on Red Wine Conversations. I also have an Instagram page. We're trying to figure out how I can get this streaming on my Instagram page. I'm going to figure that one out. But yes, please like, follow, subscribe, Red Wine Conversations. Hey, just remember, anytime you self-reflect, it's okay to find out something negative about yourself. But once you understand it and you realize it, it's up to you to make that choice to either do better or stay the same. Thank you, guys. Yes.
Thank you.